Hi.
Hello.
Um,
Hello.
I feel nervous. My heart is racing.
Why?
I don't know. You're my first person.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm really excited, and I'm excited to talk about all the experiences yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too. I've had some time to breathe into it.
Yeah, what's that look like?
Well, let's just kind of give an idea for we can set the stage for everybody else that's
Sure.
listening. I first want to start by saying thank you to M. We will say M. Thank you for bringing all of this to our attention. And I feel like for both of us, anytime anything happens, like it doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. And I feel like we are always like shifting our mess into a message. And I just feel like we don't like no one can really like bring us down into the dirt unless I want to lay in the dirt and just be there.
No, I mean,
But
unless you allow
no one can
someone to
power
do
us
that,
down.
like you have
Yeah.
to allow that person to have that power over you.
And at one time we did.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. But we've done some stuff.
Big time. Big time.
Yeah. So yesterday, and also like timing is everything. Like
It's
if
so
this would
divine.
have happened any other day,
It's
this
so
wouldn't be
divine.
happening.
Yeah.
In all of the events leading up to yesterday for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday I had gone to yoga and got to the grocery store, I was going to make you breakfast. And when I was coming home, I was confronted by a disgruntled,
Human.
thank you, who was very uncomfortable and didn't like me. I don't know. I don't know how
I think
to really like.
yeah, I think it was just she's very threatened by your presence.
Okay. Yes, and was asked me to, well, demanded that I stop speaking to her partner, and demanded her partner to stop speaking to me, for things that I feel like are just neighborly, like, or human things that I have gotten help from this person.
Yeah, I think it's important to add that it was not requested from your side, and this individual went out of their way to offer help to another person and then had casual conversation with that person outdoors in the open.
Yes. Yes. And never insinuating anything intimately.
No.
Filling my bicycle tires up with air.
And bringing over some wood. Some actual wood. I think that's an important distinction.
Yes.
Not metaphorical wood, but actual chopped wood.
For a fire.
Yes.
That we will let it burn.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you feel like, did anything new come up for you, or just like in reflection? Because I feel like we both kind of were in a reactive state, and of course like my ego is like kind of blew up a little bit.
Yeah.
In some ways of like, oh yeah, well, I can't wait to look really hot.
Yeah. And I think it's really easy to go there because like being a very confident person and someone that's really comfortable in your own skin and just knows who you are, and someone feeling threatened by that when you are someone that hasn't always been that way, it feels rather empowering that you now have some sort of, not control, but you do have control of the perception of how people view you, if that makes sense. And so when you're in this state of someone being threatened by you, it definitely does stroke your ego a little bit. You definitely get that feeling of like, oh, well, okay.
Right.
Don't mind
Like,
if
oh,
I
you've
don't
been
mind if I
watching me?
do continue on just being myself. But I think it's important to also recognize that the individual that confronted you in the way that she did it is a hurting individual. She is
Yeah.
someone that's also struggling with her own self worth, her own identity, and then also a huge disconnect with her husband, obviously.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I've dissected it further from the perspective of like who she is and where she's coming from. And when you can see it from that way, you can take a step back and not take it personally, because at the end of the day it doesn't have anything to do with you, and it has everything to do with how she's feeling internally.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. And I've been thinking also of just like woman to woman. And just the sense of like, I just think like, have you ever not needed help? And like coming from her of like approaching me in such a like confronting way. Um and it's like it took me so long to be able to get to this point to ask for help. And now I don't want to allow this to um like spiral back to where I was and be like, okay, well, I'm never going to ask anyone for help. um but it just makes me think like, well, like what have you been through that you feel that you need to come at me in that way, or like that I've got it all figured out.
Right. And again, it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with how she's feeling about the whole situation. Like, we don't know. Like, maybe her husband cheated on her. And now she's sitting here threatened by every single woman that walks by him. You know? And I thought about it even further, and like this woman is going so far out of her way to try to control
Mm,
her husband not being tempted. Like, the thought process in her brain is, I'm going to confront this other woman to demand that she not tempt my husband.
mm, mm,
Ma'am, if you
mm,
need to try to control the outside world so your husband
mm,
can't, like, so your husband keeps his junk in his pants, you should probably get a new husband. But what our society has taught us is, one, to be dependent on a man, and two, that other women are our enemies. It's not
mm,
about the man controlling himself. It's about making sure that we control ourselves so that the man doesn't become out of control. It's this crazy conditioning that's in all of
mm,
us. Like, that woman's logic was to confront another woman instead of being like, um, why are you going out of your way to help? Like, to her, she probably sees you as like a damsel in distress. right? And her husband's going out of her way to help this other woman. And she's so
Mm,
offended by it because she's probably sitting there like, you don't even do that for me.
yeah, something's lacking
Something's
within.
lacking in their
Yeah.
relationship. And when she sees her husband do little things like that for another woman, it's triggering for her. It makes her angry because he doesn't even do those things for her.
Could be.
And we don't know. But when you
Yeah.
really think about it further, like there's so much more going on behind the scenes. And even when I confronted her, because like you're my friend, okay? And when you're in a state where you're triggered, and the best thing you were able to do at that moment was to walk away. You noticed
Yeah.
you were triggered, you noticed you were activated, and you weren't
And
able.
knowing that I could walk away
Yeah, and you
and
could
I didn't
walk
have to
away.
hear what, yeah.
You did not have to. And more than that, I know later you were like, I should have said this, I should have done that. But at that time, the best that you could do while being activated to also stay regulated was to walk away. And for me, for my friend, like you came over onto my friend's property and you made her extremely uncomfortable. That's not okay
Hmm.
under any circumstances just because you have something going on in your personal life with your husband. So I'm absolutely going to stand up for my friend. So even when I spoke to her and tried to be like, listen, you don't have to worry about Jenna over here. It's really not a big deal. Um, she got confrontational with me as well. And what I
Hmm.
noticed when she was getting confrontational is she, one, wouldn't allow me to finish my sentence, which tells me she's not heard at home and she needs to rule with an iron fist to be heard. And
Mm.
she demands to be heard.
Yes,
So there's something,
a very direct woman.
she's a very direct woman. Um, And then she made a point to explain that she wasn't rude or called you names. But just because you don't call someone names doesn't mean you're not being rude or abrasive or stepping over bounds that are not meant to be stepped over. And that's what she was doing. And when she was getting confrontational with me, you could tell her voice started to get shaky. Her hands were shaky. Like she was definitely
Mm.
activated, but
Yeah.
she felt a lot of shame. I think she felt a lot of shame
Mm.
behind her actions and how she confronted you. And then a lot of shame that now your friend was confronting her and she was very embarrassed. So she had to overcompensate for her shame and embarrassment by being extra confrontational, by being extra loud, extra big,
Yeah.
extra animated to cover that up.
Yeah.
And she,
And I feel like,
go ahead.
go ahead. Oh, and I feel um, like old Jenna would have just quietly, like, just hid in my house then and probably not shared this with anyone and just been like, well, you know, but I feel like the more that we grow and evolve and heal within this realm, these occurrences may happen more often and we may trigger people that um, are uncomfortable in themselves and their situations and can't see outside of what's in front of them and can't imagine a different life. Um, and in those situations, it's like, okay, I feel like, yes, it's important to address those people and bring some stuff into light, that is probably going to be uncomfortable, but that's like this conversation never would have happened, and I'm grateful that this happened, but also like, I don't know, like we can talk about it, and like I want to see her in a different light. I want to see, like, of course, like we're all the same, and we're all fucking human going through these like crazy human experiences, and we have no idea what the fuck is happening on a regular basis or what is going to happen. But in hopes to see her in a different light, or just like, I just want all love, right? Like, but like she's clearly like actively struggling with some stuff, and like we all are. Some just have different approaches to things, and today or yesterday it just happened to be my day that
Mm-hmm.
she needed to come at me after she's been sitting with it festering for weeks, right?
Yeah, that's what she said. And so that's where I'm also having like so much empathy and compassion for her, because I totally get sitting there in a gut rot, riddled
Mm,
with anxiety, just like your mind is racing a million miles an hour. And to her, the only thing she had control of was to lash out at someone she didn't know.
mm.
And
She
so,
thinks she knows.
right, right. She assumes. And when you assume, it makes an
Mm,
ass out of you and me. I mean, that's an agreement, is don't make assumptions. And also, the only thing we can do is be impeccable with our word. And I've thought more about
mm,
it, and like if there's anything that you or I could do in this situation to maybe make it a little bit better, and maybe this would make it overall better for you feeling comfortable in your space, right? Like literally woman to woman, she's fucking struggling. Like her
yeah,
husband, I can tell you right now, is not meeting her needs. And although we need to meet our own needs first, her husband's not there to help amplify those needs. So what we can do
mm,
as women is like offer support. Like if you're ever in a space where you want to have more love and empathy and compassion for her, you could totally confront her again and be like, listen, I've been where you're at, and I'm sorry you're feeling this way. Literally, woman to woman, I'm not your enemy. And if you ever need anything, if you just want to vent, if you need a safe space, I'm here.
yeah,
Like
yeah, for sure.
sisterhood is so
It's
much
going to take
more
some time.
important. No, that's okay. And that's fine. But really, like, she is a woman just hurting. And she's projecting
Yeah,
that outward onto the world. And
yeah,
if we want to meet things with love and compassion, that's what she needs. And if that's what you need to give from afar, that's perfectly fine too. The woman stepped over a huge boundary. Like,
mm.
she came onto your property. That's not just like
She
forgivable.
marched
It's
over.
not okay.
Yeah.
And I'm in by no means minimizing it, but trying to come
Mm-hmm.
from that place of really understanding and meeting people where they're at. What that woman wants to feel that she's not getting is connection.
Yeah,
She's
like
so
we all need
disconnected.
that.
She's disconnected
Yeah,
from her
and I think
partner, she's disconnected from the world, and she's disconnected from herself.
for sure. And I think oh shit, I lost it. I don't remember.
That's the worst. Sorry, I was rambling.
um no, I and that's all that we are all craving and needing. So it came back. She came back. I think in anything, it's all about the approach and the intention behind your words, your actions for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and in those situations, it's like, not that I want them to happen on a regular basis, but it's gonna happen. But being able to like step outside and like, okay, take a breath, like ground myself. What what are you saying? Like, what are you saying? What am I hearing? How can I support you? Like, but and it just allows me to go more within myself and
Yeah.
to practice these things um, in the heat of the moment, which
Yeah.
that is going to take a lot of practice. And
Yeah.
I'm all for learning every day.
Well, that's what we're doing every day. And we touched on this yesterday where that, um, what did I say about, I came up with something about being triggered. And it's like
Mm,
when you're able to stay regulated in a state of dysregulation, it's like
mm-hmm,
an ultimate point in your healing. Like it's an optimal point where you're able to recognize, like, my body's activated. This is creating a physical and emotional response. And I understand that, but I'm not going to let me automatically react to that physical response. And I'm going to stay grounded and get through my
mm,
thought process to be able to respond from a place of calmness instead of reactiveness.
yeah.
And that just takes practice. Like you said, it takes practice of being in situations like this where your core being is so triggered and so activated and needing to do something different than what you've always done.
Mm-hmm. And I think like being not being in an active relationship too, like I don't use that muscle. That muscle isn't being activated on a regular
Yeah.
basis. So like I
Yeah.
go from like Saturday not talking to anyone into the evening, and then Sunday going to yoga, talking to a couple people, and then like getting blasted with all of this like interaction, like,
Yeah.
oh, like
Well, you're very much like
whiplash.
in your comfort zone right now. Like
I'm very
you're
private.
so private and you're so comfortable, and that just feels so good. And I love that. And you have to have that. There's also there also needs to be like balance and the duality of comfort
Mm,
and discomfort. Like you have to have
mm,
both in order to grow and to learn. You have to be in discomfort because that's
mm-hmm.
what teaches you to do something different. That's how you learn to do something different.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
This shit's not easy. Like it's
Love this
so
for
hard.
us.
It's so hard.
Yeah, but I'm so grateful because it's like we can only go so far. Like I was talking about yesterday, like having this podcast and like evolving conversations, but it's a conversation with myself, and I can only go so far. You can only go so far healing on your own, all by
Yeah.
yourself, just secluded to the world. Like you can do some deep big work by yourself, and that is private. And what is it Alan Watts that's like the healing is in the privacy of your own heart? Is that
Mhm.
Ram or Alan? I think it's Alan.
It
Shit.
might be Watts.
Well, either Ram Dass and Alan
Yeah.
Watts
Either way,
are
two
are
very
my
profound
dudes.
individuals. I
But
actually recently learned
then
that Alan Watts was actually like a severe alcoholic.
oh
Did you know that?
yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, he was always drinking and always under the influence, which is so crazy to think about because like
Interesting.
when you think of alcohol, you think of how it like disorients your brain and totally keeps you disconnected. And for that guy, it kept him so connected to source, which is wild. I went
That's
down a little
fascinating.
rabbit hole on him, but
You
yeah.
gotta. I love him. I love you.
I love you.
I love
I
us.
love us so much. I love it so much.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Thank you for letting me be on here, and thank you for sharing everything with me. Thank you for sharing M with me. It was very nice for me to also experience
Mm,
her in the capacity that she's at.
mm-hmm.
so that we were able to dissect it a lot more. And I think that we both have a lot more empathy and compassion for her and just people in general that you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what they're struggling with. Which just, I think it
No.
just brings you full back to like the four agreements, like not taking anything personally, like being impeccable with your word, you know? Like when
Mm.
you live by those and you apply them to everyday life, like you can really look at things objectively and sit back and view it from a point of it literally doesn't have anything to do with me. That is
Yeah.
that person's experience, and it's not my job to take it on as my own. It's theirs.
Oh shit. And that is some work.
It
That takes
is.
time and that is a hard muscle.
Yeah,
Like, but we're doing it every
we
day.
are.
We are getting up. We are choosing to get up every day and be in healthy, conscious relationships and being so fucking aware that it's driving me crazy sometimes.
I just read something that was like, someone was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so self-aware," and they were like, "Yeah, thank you. It's literally ruining my life."
Sometimes I'm like, oh, why do I have to be so like in my
Oh
body?
my
Like I can feel any
gosh.
tiny little like twinge from someone like, oh, they blinked differently or they breathe differently. Like, what's going on? Like, what
Yeah.
are you feeling right now?
Oh gosh, it
How
drives
can
me
I support you?
crazy. It drives me absolutely bonkers sometimes because I'm like, my boyfriend breathes wrong, and I'm like, what did I do? And I'm like, wait a second.
Are you mad at me?
That doesn't have anything to do with me. Oh my
Oh
God, he's
shit.
allowed to have his own human experience. Stop making it about
Yeah.
you.
What's the lesson? What's the lesson in
Oh,
that
what
deep
is the
breath?
goddamn lesson? Sometimes there's not a lesson. Just let people be.
There's always a lesson, Tati.
Sometimes there's not, Jenna.
Oh, I want to be like that.
Sometimes there's just not, and you gotta just laugh and walk away because what the actual fuck is going on?
I want to be more human. Sometimes I'm like, everything's spiritual.
You can't be human all the time. Like, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You can't be that spiritual being all the time. Like, allow yourself to be human. Take a
Free
break
will.
from the healing. Like, take a break to just experience the life and all of its capacity that it's showing you.
Mm.
It's not all about what's it teaching me, what's going on here, what's happening, because that's also like a trauma response. You're constantly on high alert trying to figure out and dissect what's happening. It's not that
Nah, we gotta stay
serious, Jenna.
regulated, boo.
It's not that
Regulate. It's
serious.
not that serious.
It's just not that serious.
It's just leaves literally
We're
falling off the
literally
tree.
on a
It's not that
spinning
fucking
rock
serious.
in space, okay? A spinning rock in space, we're like this fucking big. It's not that serious.
I'm gonna light up here. Light up some Palo Santo on that one.
Yes.
Oh shit.
It's
This
just,
has been beautiful.
it's so
I love
beautiful.
you.
Oh, shoot. I just got a call from
Yeah,
the
you
radio.
gotta.
Okay, the radio's calling me. Please
Okay.
hold.
All right.
Okay, signed, sealed, delivered.
You're amazing.
Just gotta be on the radio real quick. Promote the business.
You hustling. No, we're not hustling. We're soft.
Trying to be so soft in an era where I need to hustle and grind, but trying to
Mm-mm.
find the balance in that. Which is not
Mm.
easy as a business owner. Like, as a female business owner, I want to go to work and I want to reap all the benefits of being a business owner with my flexible schedule and being able to kind of just come and go as I please. But it's also like 24/7.
Mm.
Like, really, it
Do you
is.
want to? Do you want to share a little bit about what you're doing?
We can. The only people that will benefit from it are the ones in Minnesota. So, but yeah, I run a cannabis delivery business.
Mm,
really geared towards holistic health and wellness.
mm,
My goal eventually is to just kind of have a wellness center where you
mm.
can come and go and get your plant medicine, but also there'll be coaching, there'll be guidance on whatever journey you're on, whether that's spiritual or just like a physical journey to get better in health. Um, and then I actually have plans to host some retreats this summer.
Oh,
So
I love
I'm
that. That's what I was
super
going to
excited.
ask. Like, are you going to be at any festivals or anything, or
Um,
how can people find you?
yeah, so our Instagram handle is at the Green Hive LLC. Our Facebook page is the Green Hive 2.0. I had to create a new page because our first one got shut down, which is kind of disappointing because we had a lot of people on there following us. But um
Mm,
doesn't matter. That's beside the point. Out with the old, in with the new, and I'm just letting that flow.
upgrading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I live on a nice chunk of land with 50 acres and it's so beautiful. I really want to host quite a few retreats there this summer that'll be obviously cannabis friendly, and
Mm,
we'll have like yoga and Reiki, and I'm getting in touch with a lot of healers up here in this area since getting into this business, which is really awesome. So I'm developing connections and relationships with other like-minded women, which is so
yes.
special to me because in the last like 6 months, I've really been cultivating like a sisterhood and just creating my circle of women to just stay connected and to be there for each other. So that's what I'm doing.
Love that for
I'm trying to
you.
trying to heal people by the masses.
You're doing it. You're literally doing it, babe.
Yeah, yeah. So it's good.
I love that. I'm
Hmm.
excited.
I know you'll have to come to one.
Just
I'm
in time
super
for the full
stoked.
moon.
I know.
Mmm,
No,
yummy. This energy is so yummy and juicy
I
and
know.
fiery.
It's just flowing. I love it. I love it so much.
Aw,
And I've
thanks for
realized
sharing all
too,
that.
like in the last 6 months, like I said, like really cultivating these relationships with women, like in previous points of my life, like my my point of like self-worth, validation, acceptance, like feeling fulfilled was always with a partner or a man. Like that I
Mm,
made that person dependent on my self-worth and my happiness. And with as much as I've learned about feminine and masculine and the roles that they play in dynamics and relationships, is men are there for a purpose, and they're there to lead you and guide you and to support you and to find solutions in a time of need. And you can't rely solely on the masculine to guide you in this life because we need women. I mean, in pre-modern societal times, we lived in like groups, or like, what do you want to call it? Not
village.
Yes, like villages, okay?
Sisterhood. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I
and
feel you.
it was all women surrounded by each other. I mean, even if you go back to like birth, like medieval times, the whole reason
Mm,
women give birth on their back on like a table is because a king decided he wanted to be in the room to watch the birth of his son, and he instructed the midwife to have his wife lay on her back so that he could see. It's actually not even an optimal
interesting.
position
No.
for a woman to be in.
Mm-mm.
And before that, it was actually just the husband wasn't even in the room. It was just a woman surrounded by other women within their village. And so when we talk
Mm.
about like it takes a village, we don't have that village anymore. We've been so removed from sisterhood and womanhood that we think that we need that support from a man, and it can all come from a man or that masculine energy. And we
Yeah.
really need to be surrounded by our sisters, because the way we move is through feelings and thought process and connecting. Like, we need that
Mm.
connection. And men can't be the sole source of that. In
Yeah.
order for us to
We
be
gotta
the
get that
healers
balance.
and the
Yeah.
feminine that we are, to be fully divine in the beings that we were meant to be, we need our sisters. We have to have
Yeah.
that. And it's so important to branch out and find that. And that's why I think that's why women feel so dysregulated these days, because we're so disconnected from what we're meant to be, how we're meant to be it, and who we're meant to spend our time with.
Yeah. And just lacking that support.
Yeah, we need so much feminine support.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And yeah. And men do too. Men,
Oh,
absolutely. And I
absolutely.
feel like it's been really beautiful to see like these men evolving and being vulnerable to open up this realm of being in touch with themselves. And I'm excited for this new universe
Yeah.
unfolding of men.
Yeah. I've Once you like really start to cultivate the circle that you want, and you start to embody the essence of the kind of person you want to be, the people you start to attract are the same, and they're
Mm,
like-minded people that also are cultivating the essence of who they want to be. And I've seen that also in men, because I used to have this really icky view of just men in general, because
mm,
I mean, again, I think we're taught to be afraid of men. Like, we're always taught to be aware of your surroundings, look over your shoulder, like, don't wear a short skirt, like, because there's predators that are men. But
mm.
going deeper than that and understanding that men also need that support. They also need that love. They
Absolutely.
also need that guidance, so that they don't grow up to be these angry men that hate women.
Yeah. And it's shifting. There is
It's
still a lot of work to
shifting.
be done, but it's
Yeah,
shifting.
it is. And it
And we
shifts
just got to keep
because,
keep sharing and
yeah,
keep connecting and keep um, allowing these men to feel safe to express themselves.
yeah,
And
that's the big thing, is
yeah,
safety.
mm, you're so safe.
Oh,
I love this friendship is so safe. It's so nurturing, truly. Like
yeah,
after you left yesterday, I was just like, I'm just so fulfilled, so nurtured. Like I had no idea where yesterday was going to go with us, and like
mm-hmm.
we just flowed, and time just
It stood
went away.
still. It
Time
literally
just
stood
yeah.
still. Like, there was no concept of time. We were just here in the now, and it was so beautiful. And I'm so eternally grateful for that time with you. It was
Mm,
so special, and it really just fed my soul.
truly, we really got all the elements. Like I made you breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
coffee. We had girl talk. We cried a little.
Yeah.
We went outside, enjoyed the sun. We snuggled up with blankies and had snacks and bacon.
Yeah.
And then we came back inside and sat in my sat in my sauna light.
I know, it was so lovely. I noticed so many things after that. Like, an old version of me would have been so worried about, like, where my phone was, because my partner needs to know where I'm
Mm,
at and what I'm doing, or I need to be there to be able to answer their call when they call. And it's
mm-hmm.
so nice to be in a state of being able to do what I want to do and not have to worry about someone else. And even
Yeah.
afterwards, like, I had my phone by me, and later Bubba did text me and just check in and ask how my little girl date was. And I
Mm,
it was so beautiful that I was able to share with him. I'm so grateful for this friendship. It was such a good time. Like I didn't expect to be there that long, but we just flowed, and time again stood still, and he was like, I'm so glad that you got to do that because you really needed a good friend connection with just everything that I have going on. And
Yeah, of
it felt
course.
so good to be able to receive that support from him. Like,
Oh, I love
and
that.
which just solidifies my point of like, we need that feminine connection because in turn it nurtures our other relationships. Like, when I feel good, we feel good. When he nurtures his
Absolutely.
relationships, he feels good, which then empowers our relationship. So it was
Yeah.
just so good to notice that, like, all of my dynamics have shifted to like full authenticity because I've moved that way in my life for the last few years, and I'm finally reaping the benefits of all of
Yes,
that
babe.
hard work.
Oh my goodness.
It just
It's been
feels
a
it
it's been a
feels
journey.
so good. It feels so good.
I love that for you so
Yeah.
much.
I love it so much
Oh,
because I know you knew me like pre Bubba, like when I was still
yeah.
just single and didn't have any desire to be with anybody. And
Yeah.
that dynamic, this relationship has just flowed so organically because we both moved through it with such um, pure intention, and
Mm,
just we just let it flow and let it be what it was supposed to be. And
I love that.
we still do that even in our, and I mean, we're not, I think it's also important to note that like we have gotten into disagreements. Like
Yeah,
we
of
have had
course.
arguments. We've gotten in literal like what you would call a fight. Although my fights in my conscious relationship is not like what it used to be in my unhealthy ones where you're yelling at each other or
Yeah.
holes get punched in walls or
Oh dear, yeah.
like
No more.
so unconscious. It's a and it's taken me a while to be okay with these types of fights because he'll literally be like, I need to walk away. I'll come back, but I need to walk away. And then he walks away and I'm sitting there like, oh my God. And then he comes back.
Yeah.
He comes back and then we have a conversation about it. And it's always a conversation. It's never heated. It's never yelling. It's never volatile. And there's no
Mm,
attacks on who you are as a person or low blows because it's so conscious. It's very scary because it's something I've never experienced before. And
yeah.
I don't know how to navigate it. And it's been over a year now and it still is hard. But
You're doing it though. You're navigating. You're
I'm
literally doing
constantly,
it.
this is my point of constantly being triggered and being
Yeah.
able to learn to stay regulated in that state of dysregulation.
Yes.
Because old me would be like, okay, mother.
Mm-hmm. And she's still in there.
Oh,
She's
she's
still
in
in there.
there.
She gets her claws
She's
out.
in there. And
You got your
I'm coming.
badass neck tattoo.
I'm coming.
Like I told my folks yesterday what you all said.
Yeah.
And of course they were like, "Oh my gosh, she said that." And I'm like, "Yeah. Yeah."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You should see her. She's like super badass. Like she's got this neck tattoo." But she's so like she's so soft
I am.
and sexy
I
and
really
all the
am.
things like encompassing like because we can all have those like because that's part of you,
Yeah.
but you just need to know like when she gets to come out
And when she
and
does
how
come
she gets to
out,
come out
yeah, when she does come out, it still needs
because
to
we can't
be,
suppress her.
no, it still needs to be met with love. I still need to be impeccable with my words. I do not bring harm to myself or others with my words, which is also very
Uh,
hard to like
yeah.
to do because she's clawing away and she's
Yes.
like, just let me at him.
Let her
Let me out of
out.
here. And I have
Oh
to be
shit.
like, sis, that coping mechanism, the way you're coming out right now, that is a
That's old.
automated response to keep that version of me safe. And I totally
Yeah.
value and
And
respect you
survive.
for
Yeah.
your determination to keep me safe in a state of fight or flight. However,
Yes.
that is no longer needed in this realm
No.
of life. And so I'm going to need you to back the fuck up.
Respectfully.
Respectfully, I love you. Thank you.
Uh,
Back up.
yeah. Yeah.
Take a seat. I got this. I got
Oh
under
shit.
control. And it's those constant conversations with yourself. It's the constant conversation of my therapist, actually, our therapist,
Oh,
because we
eh.
shared the same one. You referred me to her, and she is fucking amazing.
She's so good.
I don't
She's
see
so
her
good.
anymore, but
Me
she served
either.
me
I'm so sad.
so well for the time that I had her. And she gave me this little vision to be able to
Mm.
navigate that. And it was like you're sitting in a car, and like me now is driving the car, and like teenage me is right here in the back seat, and she's sitting right here in between the two seats, and like
Yeah.
sitting there like this, like, are you gonna go quick, hurry up, we got stuff to do, okay? I don't know what you're doing wasting time just dilly-dallying while you're driving, okay? And then you have like little me, like, I don't know, 6 to 8 in the way back, just laying
Mm.
there like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here and I'm just screaming. And it's both of them fighting to try to get your attention, to just try to keep you safe because they think they know what they're doing. And
Yeah.
while they had great intentions and have served me well in all of my time of trauma, those are no longer needed. And so those conversations of being like, hey, why don't you just come take a seat in the front seat, put your seatbelt on, look out the window while I drive. I got the wheel. I'll
Yeah. Grown
navigate
up
the
Tati.
bumps in the road. All you gotta do is take a
Yeah.
seat. Hey, Tati, back there, why don't you come up to the middle seat here, throw your seatbelt on, and I'll turn on some tunes. Okay? Both of you, just relax. I got it. Look out the
Yeah.
window. Look at the butterflies. Put your face in the sun.
Aw.
Just
Yeah.
relax. Relax, babes.
Yeah.
I
We're
got us.
safe.
I got us now.
Mm.
And it's those conversations that really keep you grounded in those states of feeling like the ground is going to fall out from beneath you. It's the
Yeah.
constant need to try to control the unknown and to try to plan for worst case scenario. And life
Yeah.
doesn't do that. Life just happens, and you just have to navigate it as it's happening and experience it in the capacity that it's presenting itself to you.
Mm.
So
Uh. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Tati's takes, I guess.
I love that. I appreciate you coming on. This was really fun, and this is just the beginning.
Okay.
Oh, what's happening?
My car talks to me in the form of,
What?
I don't know why. I don't know why the recording stopped, but um
Oh, it's still going here.
okay, my car just like stopped. Or just it just honks at me randomly. Like I'll be driving down the road and it'll be like beep beep beep. just like you just heard. And
Interesting.
I have not been able to figure out why. Like, I've even Googled if it's like an electrical issue, and I can't find anything on Google about a Subaru just randomly
Someone's
humming.
trying to get your attention.
Someone maybe is out there. I don't know, but that happens all the time. It's just part of the experience. So then I usually, when that
Always.
happens, I usually just like look around and I'm like, okay, what am I supposed
Yeah, who's trying? Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a bird around?
Everything seems to be fine.
It's fine.
Thank you for the
We're fine.
sign that
We're safe.
everything is okay. I just usually take it as a sign of like reminding myself to be here. You're just on a floating
Yeah.
rock in space. It's not
Yeah.
that
Be
serious.
present. Snow.
So.
Well, I love you.
I love
Thank you.
you. I feel so full again.
I hope you have a. Oh, I love this for us. Well, let's keep nurturing it, and you're always welcome. And if anything
Yeah.
comes up, like, hey, let's get on here. Let's hop on and
Yeah.
talk about this.
I like it.
Evolving conversations, right?
Evolving conversations.
Yeah.
I love
All
it.
right. Well, have a beautiful day.
I will. You too.